Some time ago I received this incredibly sweet comment and I thought it would be a great idea to make a video about setting up the machine to use the different stitch patterns. From the translation, I can assume that what is referred to as black and blue beads are actually the strippers because these are the only parts of the machine that has this color. This is like a shortcut for translating the Passap instructions into different languages. But where can you find the different stitch patterns? The first ones you will probably ever see are in the machine manual. There are 2 purple booklets full of different stitch patterns and I assume they have been published after the Passap Pinky has been released. The last booklet is the small stitch pattern book that comes with the Passap Duomatic and Passap S machines. The examples shown in this video will be from this stitch pattern book. You have to set up the machine exactly the same way no matter where the stitch pattern is from. On the first few pages of the small stitch pattern book you will find the instructions for setting up the machine as well as the meaning of the symbols shown in the next pages translated into several languages. You probably already know the meaning of the symbols. On the following pages you will see the diagrams for the different stitch patterns. But let's get back to the instructions. This is all the information given in the booklet. If you want to read it, you can pause the video. To start knitting in a stitch pattern, we have to transfer the stitches as shown in the diagram for the stitch pattern we want. These are the symbols shown under the instructions and their meanings. We don't need them for this video, but I highly recommend you know all of them before using the machine. Now let's look at some examples. In the first one, all needles on the front and the back beds are used. This is called a full needle rip. In the second example, the needles on both beds are arranged in a 1-to-1 division. In the third example, all needles on the back bed are used, but the needles on the front bed are arranged in a 1-to-1 division. In all these cases, you can arrange the needles directly as shown in the diagram, make a tubular cast on and start knitting in the pattern. If you need to start with a border or ribbing, you have to knit it first, then transfer the stitches according to the diagram shown for the stitch pattern. To make a tubular cast on, first raise the needles on both beds and arrange them as shown in one of the diagrams. I have arranged them in a 1-to-1 division. Take the main yarn and knit 1 row with both locks set to N. Then knit 2 rows with the lock set to CX and for the last row set the machine to N again. The tubular cast on consists of 4 rows. Now you can transfer the stitches using the double-eye bodkin tool. Let's see the next example. In this diagram you can see groups of 3 working and 3 non-working needles. To set up the machine you can arrange the needles on both beds in a 1-to-1 division and make a tubular cast on. After making the cast on, you have to transfer the stitches according to the diagram and put the empty needles out of work. But you can start by making a single bed cast on, then transfer the stitches to the opposite bed as shown in the diagram. The single bed cast on consists of 2 rows. Don't forget that the single bed cast on can be gathered by pulling the cast on yarn tail. This is totally up to you and your needs. You can choose between one of both methods based on if the knitting will have a border or if the edge of the fabric will be visible or if it needs to be gathered later and so on. Look at the next example. This is a single bed knit. For this stitch pattern you can set up the machine for single bed knit and make a single bed cast on, or you can arrange the needles on both beds in a 1-to-1 division, make a tubular cast on and transfer the stitches to the front bed. The tubular cast-on will make a good-looking sturdy edge. If you start with a single bed cast-on, you will skip transferring the stitches, but if you are a beginner and you find it hard to make a single bed cast-on, you can choose the second method. If you want to learn my tricks for the perfect single bed cast-on, check out the video in the upper right corner. This example is a similar one. You can make a single bed cast-on and then transfer the stitches shown in the diagram to the sides. You can also start by making a tubular cast-on and transfer the stitches later, but since this is only a trim, the single bed cast-on will be the easiest of both methods. This example will be a bit different. Can you try to guess what my approach will be here? You can leave your suggestions in the comments. Here I will start by making a single bed cast-on and then I will transfer the purl bumps from the stitches on the front bed to the needles shown in the diagram. You can start by using one of the different methods, or if you have a border or ribbing in the beginning, you have to transfer the stitches according to the diagram. This example seems a bit harder at first, but the machine can easily be set like that if you start by making a single bed cast-on, then rehanging the purl bumps to the needles on the back bed and moving the rest stitches on the front bed to the sides as shown in the diagram. To rehang a purl bump to the back bed, you can use the double-eye bodkin tool. Make sure to rotate the racking handle to its highest position so the needles are aligned for easily transferring the stitches. This is the last example for today's video and it is maybe the hardest one. Here I would start by making a single bed cast-on, then I will transfer the stitches as shown with the arrows. Transfer the stitches on the front bed first, then transfer them to the back. If you start knitting on waste yarn, you may do the transfers in 2 passes of the lock. Then change to the main yarn when everything is set up. A different approach for setting up the machine for a lace pattern can be seen in this video where I am knitting a gossamer lace shawl. You can check it out by clicking on the info card in the upper right corner. Remember that there is no right and wrong way to set up the machine. Everything can be done in many ways and it's up to you which one you will choose. That's all for today. Have a nice day and see you next time.